Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Cioffi on this Saturday. Forgot I didn't do a live stream yesterday. Saturday evening, a little after 5:30 Eastern Time. I figured I'd jump on real quick. I know a lot of you, especially if you're in the East, in the Mid-Atlantic states, and in much of the southern areas, at least of the Northeast, the weather has been just terrific today for outdoor activities. So hopefully you are taking advantage of that. And in the meantime, we're going to take a look at a few things that are going on going into this evening and tonight. First things first, I'm going to bring up the full U.S. satellite view. And we have Beryl again. Subtropical Storm Beryl. You can see it off to the east of the Delaware coast by several hundred miles. We mentioned yesterday, not in our live stream because, as I said, just kind of took the day off, but we were talking amongst ourselves yesterday, and it appeared that there was a low-level circulation that developed yesterday afternoon, and the Hurricane Center acknowledged this with regards to a circulation there, but there wasn't much thunderstorm activity with it. Well, guess what? During the day today, we saw that thunderstorm activity blow up considerably, and it's sitting offshore, kind of drifting to the north at about 10 or so miles per hour. I'll come back to it in a second. Notice up from upstate New York and in through New England, we have a lot of clouds, but south of there, down into Virginia and the Carolinas, it really is a pretty decent day. We're seeing the afternoon and evening blow-up thunderstorms occurring across northern Florida and through much of the Gulf states. And then we also have some stronger thunderstorm activity over parts of the middle and upper Mississippi Valley, and also some monsoons thunderstorms going on in parts of the southern Rockies there in New Mexico and back over into the southwest into Arizona. I would just really kind of describe our weather as being, rather typical for this time of year. There really isn't too much happening that is unusual. I've got a close-up view of Beryl, so we can take a look at this subtropical storm. Really of no interest, except for the fact that being that it is in this position, and actually gales have been going on well offshore since yet last night. So there's likely to be some wave and rip current action for the beaches of the south shore of Long Island and in through New Jersey. But you can pick the center out pretty well. These Ghost 16s these Ghost 16 pictures are really just absolutely terrific and extremely useful, because we can really pick out the circulation center so well in these things. And you see it right there, that where all the clouds are sort of curling around. There's been a burst of thunderstorm activity during the day. It hasn't really gotten that much better organized. It probably looks a little bit better than it did structurally on the satellite than it did earlier today. At the end of the day, this is all going to move out to the northeast and not really strengthen very much, at least the way that's the way it looks, and then it'll be gone. But this has really been kind of a remarkable system to look at when you think about it, given its origins, given where it became a hurricane in the tropical Atlantic at a time where you usually don't see tropical systems this time of year, and it was the second earliest on record for where it was latitude, longitude wise. It was also extremely small, described, I think, best by Cranky Weather Guy, who is on Twitter, and I think he really said it best when he called it severe thunder shower Beryl. It was really a clump of severe thunderstorms, and we've seen clumps of severe thunderstorms on land that have done far worse than what this system would have potentially done. Weakened as it moved across the Leeward Islands, rains over Puerto Rico, and then out over into the Bahamas, and then on up to the northeast, and now it's back to being a subtropical storm. The other thing I want to look at is the full tropical Atlantic satellite, because there are some changes happening. One is that I've noticed that there seems to have been a bit of a decrease in the amount of African dust that is out there. It was all over the place in the tropical Atlantic and through the Leeward Islands and the Caribbean. There seems to be much less of it now. It's not completely gone. If you look as it's the swing as this swings by, we go into dayside. There's daytime. There's still some in the Northwest Caribbean and in the Gulf of Mexico, but it seems like the area that was out in the tropical Atlantic hasn't completely disappeared, but it is there's much less of it, I think, at the moment. By the way, if you remember a couple of days ago, that gigantic upper low that was in the easternmost Atlantic, that upper low has now migrated almost to the Leeward Islands and continues to move to the west. So that would, in order for conditions to become favorable for development, that upper low has to get out of the way. And it is moving right along. There is another upper low, though, behind it. And if you look over toward the far right, you can see the swirl that is just north of convection that is coming off the African coast. So there's still more shear issues to deal with. So until these upper lows get out of the way and resolve themselves one way or another, we're not likely to see a whole lot of tropical activity coming out on the Atlantic side. I would think maybe for the next week or so. After that, there is some suggestion that conditions could become more conducive in the longer term for something to develop as we get toward the end of the month. But right now, with these upper lows out there, it really is a tough sell. Okay, in the short term, I'm going to start very tightly with the HRRR model, because it does look like we're going to have a little bit of activity tonight. The issue is that there's a dying cold front that is moving southward from upstate New York, and there will probably be some thunderstorms that develop from this and move through parts of my area, the Hudson Valley, northeastern Pennsylvania, to Connecticut, and then eventually over Long Island. I think this makes a lot of sense, but it is an area that's gradually shrinking. There are still some cells around tomorrow morning, so I think this probably complicates the forecast a bit for Sunday for my neck of the woods, because this may mean certainly for some cloud cover during the morning hours Sunday. That could hold temperatures back just a little bit. And then late in the day tomorrow, the Storm Prediction Center does have a risk of severe weather for areas from northernmost New Jersey up into southern New England. The NAM doesn't do very much with this, but the NAM has not exactly been the best model of choice when it's come to this sort of stuff this year. The GFS does have indications of some activity here during tomorrow morning and then again tomorrow evening. And this is the new GFS that's just out to 30 hours. So I'm going to respect the GFS's idea here and go with the notion that there could be some late day or evening thunderstorms in some areas. I think most of it would be, say, northern New Jersey, northern Pennsylvania, northeastward to southern New England, maybe to New York City and Long Island, but I don't expect it to be, some sort of huge widespread event. At least that's the way it looks. Areas to the south might be a bit less at risk here for any shower and thunderstorm activity. And besides, between 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. Monday, they all disappear. There's some flare-ups Monday evening. The next real change, though, is going to be for Tuesday. Models continue to at least telegraph the idea. GFS has been especially bullish with a rather strong cold front and some widespread thunderstorm activity late Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday night. I would just caution that we've been down this road with this particular model before, and it likes to do this, and then when we get in range, everything just kind of falls apart. And then looks like another dry air mass comes in and then moves out, and then next weekend we're dealing with warm and humid conditions and maybe the chance for thunderstorms again until the next front moves along. So this has really been the pattern. Cold fronts every 3, 4, 5 days. It can't get too hot for too long because of that. Monday, I think, is going to be a rather hot day for my area, with the probably a good deal of sunshine. Should see temperatures up in the 90s. And again, maybe some late day thunderstorms. Tomorrow will be very warm and humid. Now, whether it gets to 90 or not is really going to depend on how much cloud cover is out there. Here's the Storm Prediction Center, by the way. This is for this evening. And again, if you're watching this, this is at 5:45 Eastern time. So be sure if you're watching this later on the replay that you check the latest National Weather Service watches and warnings at your local office, and you can access that by going to weather.gov. And the marginal risk area in Missouri and through Illinois to about Chicago, and also into westernmost Indiana and extreme southwestern Kentucky, just kind of touching it. And then we've got this marginal to slight risk up in North Dakota, where we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that is up, again, as of 5:45 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're watching later, as I said, check your local weather service office at weather.gov for the latest information regarding whatever is happening severe weather-wise. So I think that pretty much wraps it up with regards to what's happening. We're in this place, I guess you want to call it right now, where things are fairly, overall, it's just kind of typical summertime, typical July weather. Some places are hotter than others, and some places are not as hot as they normally would be. But there's nothing here, in my mind, that kind of pushes the envelope and stretches things to extreme directions in either direction. Priscilla Mayu down in Louisiana with an 104 heat index. That's Gulf of Mexico. That's weather along the Gulf Coast in July, most definitely. Ruru is here, and T-Bear, I hope all is well. Got kind of warm here real quick today, 87 as we speak. Enjoy your weekend too, really appreciate it. Jay Martin, the audio garbles from time to time when you're loudest with my voice. Yeah, you know what? I've been struggling trying to get that corrected. It's a matter of me kind of playing with the audio levels, and that is oftentimes a bit problematic. I'm going to lower it a little bit more, and maybe that'll help. I think I have them all set here at a good spot, and hopefully that stops it. I do tend to get loud sometimes. I've been trying to keep my voice a bit more on an even keel with all of this. So you folks, thanks very much for being on this afternoon. I know it's kind of everybody's out, so you'll be coming back this evening. If you missed the live stream and you're tuning in, you're watching it on the replay. I hope you had a great day. We will do a live stream tomorrow evening and get back to normal schedule on Monday. Obviously, it's a weekend, so there's no Joe and Joe show at the moment for today or for tomorrow. But we'll bring it back Monday. Both of us were kind of mentally fried yesterday for some reason, so we just kind of decided there wasn't really too much happening, and we figured we'd take a break. Ruru 25 wouldn't be surprised if the last minute hurricane shows up. Well, look, something could always pop up, and that's not impossible. I'm merely suggesting that, at least in terms of the overall pattern, the African dust seems to be lessening, and that is a positive from the standpoint of creating an atmosphere that's a bit more conducive. African dust does hinder tropical storm development. It gets entrained into the circulation of these systems as they try to develop, and causes them to either develop very slowly. They're sort of having to fight to get moisture, or sometimes it might even prevent them from developing at all. Those upper lows, I think, are a little more problematic that are out in the Atlantic. It leaves for a lot less room for something to happen. So if you're kind of in a place where there's a wave in between the two upper lows, and there might be some room for some development, but that situation has to straighten itself out a bit. Eric Berman, typhoon tip in the Western Pacific with a pressure of 875 millibars, I think, continues to hold the record there. Hurricane Wilma in 2005 at 884 millibars holds the record here on the Atlantic side. And I think Hurricane Patricia on the East Pacific from I want to say 2016 or 2015. Maybe it was 2015 going into 2016. That was I think that's the first storm that I saw that carried a sustained wind on an advisory of over 200 miles an hour. So those are, I think, your benchmarks as far as storms are concerned. All right, folks, going to leave it right there. Just as always, just a reminder, we've got the Amazon link and on this video, just on the description of this live stream and on the video when you watch it later. We are a part of the Amazon Services LLC Associates program, which is an affiliate advertising program designed to provide a means for this channel to earn fees by linking to Amazon and affiliated sites. If you shop on Amazon using that link, you get your stuff, and Amazon throws me back a little bit of coin, and everybody's happy. And the other one is Ebates, which is an affiliate advertising program, and same idea. If you sign up to Ebates, they throw me back a little coin. It's free, and it's a way of getting cash back on all your purchases, and it has it's connected with all the major retailers. Thank you so much for those of you who use that. I really, really appreciate it. It's an easy way to support my channel if you feel up to it. Thank you. And that's it. So look, have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.